Welcome to pattern making class. I'm your college instructor, Annette Julie, also fashion designer and production pattern maker to the garment industry. Today we're going to be using our full-scale front bodice, and we are going to be working on dart manipulation using the method slash and spread. So here you see the template that I made in a prior video. You have all the different positions of where you can position this weight dart to. So the French dart, the side seam straight bust, mid armhole, low point of shoulder, mid shoulder, high point of shoulder, mid neck, center front bust level, and center front waist, or any place in between. So please watch the prior video so that you can learn how to make that template. And in this video, you're going to need to have your paper and your basic bodice, as well as a writing implement, and some pattern paper, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to grab my pattern making ruler too. Got my pattern making paper, which is a type of marking paper, and I'm going to copy my front bodice off, and I'm going to use this little grid system with numbers and little X's to make my first grain line for my center front. And then now I can place my bodice against that grain line and keep my pattern on grain, matching with the paper as I'm tracing it off. It's really important to always keep everything on grain. We're tracing our neckline, our shoulder seam, our armhole, and this is the armhole notch, bottom of the armhole. Now we have our side seam and our waist, notches here for the dart, the waist dart, another notch, and then we need to continue tracing to the center front. Let's also transfer the tip of the dart and the apex. So you would have needed to punch through with your awl or a sharp implement with your copy of your bodice earlier to make a little hole. Look, you can make a hole with your pen as well. And then we've transferred the dart tip and the apex of our bust mount. So let's go ahead and make sure that we have all of our markings. Go ahead and make sure we get this corner right there. And our shoulder seam. Looks like we have everything. And I can always make another grain line now, parallel with the line that I used to trace off the center front. Here is, again, another grain line. This can be a grain line. Here's a grain line. You can make them all the way across, but it's best to have 1 to 2 inches parallel with the center front or center back. Here we had the apex, and here we have the tip of the dart. Let's go ahead and draw our dart legs to the notch there at the waist. And we've made a nice copy. That looks good. Now, with our template, we can decide where do we want to go ahead and place our dart. Doesn't need to just be here at our waist. I really like the look of the French dart, so I'm going to place the dart here in this side seam position, up 2 inches. This is my center front. Here's my waist. Here, this is the dart. Here is my side seam, my armhole, my shoulder, and my neck. So I'm going to go ahead and go 2 inches up from my side seam, waist. This is the waist and the side seam, and I've gone up 2 inches, and I'm going to mark it. And I'm going to draw a line, but not to my dart tip, to my apex. All the transferring of our darts will be from the apex. So that is going to be our new style line. This is going to be our French dart. And we are going to use the method slash and spread. But in order to do that, we need to take our original dart legs that only go to the dart tip, and we need to draw them from our waist notches all the way up to the apex position. We're going to be slashing these long dart legs and spreading open a new dart position. So you can cut this whole thing out, or you can just cut out the part you're working with. So for me, to save time, I'm just going to cut out the part that I'm working with. And I'm also going to need a scrap of some paper. Okay, so I've got a scrap of paper. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut the dart legs that I am going to slash and close. I'm going to get rid of these dart legs. I'm going to get rid of this dart. I'm going to cut all the way up to the apex position. And I cut out this whole dart, including the shorter dart legs. This gets removed. Now I'm going to come over to the side where I have drawn the new dart position. And I'm going to slash from the side seam all the way to the apex. And if I can, I'm going to try to leave that hanging on there if I can. Looks like it's hanging on. So now we have the waist dart opening. We have slashed the new style line, and we have slashed up the old dart legs. Now we are going to spread open our new dart position. Grab yourself a piece of tape, and let's go ahead and close the waist dart. We have now a new style line that you might like what it looks like better. Let's take a piece of paper and put it underneath the side bust dart. We're going to need a little bit more tape. And you can go ahead and tape down where we have the opening here. We're taping down. And we're almost done with this. But we could go ahead and do what we did with the other dart, which is to back this off 1 inch for the dart tip. It's in essence going to look almost exactly like this. So we want to, from the apex, draw a line 1 inch away. Now you can also measure and find the middle of that dart. And now we're going to draw new dart legs to our side seam in our French dart position. Here is the apex of our bust mound. We have backed this off here 1 inch. This is now our dart tip. We're in the French dart position, but we need to figure out what are we doing over here with the waist. Okay? Oh, with the side seam, excuse me. So we've got a lot of paper here in the back. I always like to trim the paper a little bit and not have so much on the back unless there's a lot of slash lines. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that. If you want, you may secure on the back, or if you are fine, you can leave that alone. Now we have our dart tip back that 1 inch. I'm going to show you how to deal with your side seam here. You're going to go ahead and trim a little bit more paper away on the waist. Where you have the dart tip, we're going to actually fold a line mostly perpendicular with the side seam and the dart tip. We're going to fold a line there. That's the dart tip. And now I'm going to take my dart legs and I'm going to fold one and put it on top of the other. So I'm going to crease the line that is the short dart leg, and I'm going to lift that up and place it on top of the other dart leg, flattening down my pattern. Over here, if there's any discrepancy with the side seam, you may true it right now. So I'm going from the underarm down to the waist. I'm going to bring this out just a little bit. This is the truing. This came out. Now, in this position, without cutting the piece underneath, here's that dart, and there's so much extra paper. You can go ahead and cut up the side. So we can see what it looks like. Also, it's going to be a real fun dart to look at. And there is our slash and spread. And we have moved our waist dart over to the side position, and we have a French dart. And this is what it would look like. But sewn up would look like so. And this is a pattern without seam allowance, or a neck styling or a sleeve or anything like that. So please watch all the rest of the videos so you can see how to make a new neck and add a sleeve and a back and everything like that. This is Annette Julie, and I look forward to watching one of my next videos.